We're using all of our off-script time tonight to examine this crisis. This is the 18th school shooting this year. That's according to Everytown Research, a nonpartisan organization dedicated to reducing gun violence in America. That number includes the shooting at Oxon Hill Senior High School in Prince George's County early this week. Let's begin with somebody who knows what it's like to run a school and have the safety of the students as his top priority. Joining me right now is Michael Durso. He's a member of the Montgomery County School Board, a former principal at Springbrook Senior High School in Montgomery County and Wilson Senior High School here in the nation's capital. Mike, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Just tell me what your thoughts are tonight. Former principal, school board member.
Well, unfortunately, here we are again. We've been through this before. We seem to still have more questions than answers. You mentioned the Oxon Hill shooting. That was actually outside of the actual school building, but it was on campus. And I'm not sure if we should be relieved anymore that, well, it didn't happen in the building. I think parents rightly question, you know, what are schools and school systems doing? You've heard from the video we saw, there's drills. Most of our school systems, I think, have good relations with the local police. They're constantly updating procedures, but when something like this happens, it's kind of back to the drawing board.
Back to the drawing board. Montgomery County, one of the finest school systems in all of the country. There are drills for what to do should an armed person enter the building. We
do. All of our high schools have Montgomery County police officers assigned to them. Although this is not just relegated to a high school. Sandy Hook obviously was an elementary school. I think the important thing, though, is to be vigilant in terms of students who may be a little bit off course, or maybe loners, or those that are bullied. And we try to encourage our students to speak out. That's tough sometimes because they might see that as snitching. So it's a
Mike, I'm sitting here tonight and I'm thinking this could have happened at any school in the United States of America. And it has happened at just about any kind of school in the United States of America. Are politicians opposed to, electronic monitoring, body devices, scanners, anything, everything? Are they opposed to armed security in the schools if you're talking off-duty, say, Montgomery County police officers?
I don't think we're opposed to any of those. You didn't mention guns, though, and we do seem to have a split in this country just in terms of guns, access to guns, etc. This was an automatic rifle that this young man used. I don't know why anyone has to have access to that.
Right. Would you be opposed to an armed, off-duty Montgomery County police officer or an on-duty Montgomery County police officer being in a school?
Not at all. In fact, that's been the practice in a number of our local school systems, actually going back to the 60s. So I think sometimes there's a concern about, oh, well, you don't want a police officer there. Right. But when something like this happens, you definitely need that.
And what about spending the money, or do you even have the money, for the metal detectors and everything else that you have to go through at airports and other places? Would you be opposed to students having to go through this kind of thing?
Well, I think that sometimes is seen as a cure-all for a much deeper problem. We've had situations nationally where schools that have a lot of those devices available and something can still happen. So right. That it certainly helps, but we're looking for guarantees, and that's hard to.
You're feeling a little bit like me tonight, like a little impotent. We can't do anything to stop this from happening again.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't go so far as we can't do anything, but it's after a story like today, and then I suspect most of your viewers are surprised to hear that there are 18, or this is the 18th this school year. Right. That's a lot.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to say we can't do anything. We haven't done anything,
right,
okay, to prevent this. Michael Durso, thanks a lot for your time. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
President